So it's been 10 years since the crew of Prometheus met our creators, and not in the best way. Meanwhile, the rent prices on Earth increased again, so people decided that it's cheaper to colonize new planets. And so, a colonial spacecraft Covenant, with 2,000 passengers and 15 so-called crew members, is on its way to the planet Origai 6. And everything would have gone as smooth as an engineer's head, and the Covenant crew would have been living happily in the new world, if it wasn't for an idiot Dr. Elizabeth Shaw and android Magneto, who is very sensitive and touchy for an android, and decided that he's not a smart fridge and he doesn't want to serve humans anymore.
Bring me his tea, David.
No, fuck off!
And during his first mission, he decided to become a biologist and research the consequences of infecting humans with alien pathogen.
Yes, science!
But after he made one of the engineers angry with his ambassador skills,
"Come on, you little ass! Fuck with me, huh? You fucking little asshole, dickhead, cocksucker! You fucking come on!"
he became lighter by his body weight and had to stop his biology career. And together with the only survivor of the mission, Dr. Shaw, they went to the home planet of the bodybuilders to commit a genocide. And Dr. Shaw decided to travel there, not knowing how many years the flight is gonna take, and not knowing if the hibernation pod designed for bodybuilders is suitable for humans. But most importantly, because she didn't have YouTube, she decided to pass the time by fixing android Magneto, who doesn't have all human features, but for sure he has a tongue. So Shaw gave him a nickname,
The Jackie Robinson of ass-eating.
And apparently, Shaw got so excited with her new friend that she forgot that David is dangerous and had infected her husband.
I don't know how Holloway got infected. If it's in the air.
It's not.
And he also tried to use her for his experiments, and still she decided to fix him. I can see only one reason why she did that.
The gal is getting twitchy.
And David, instead of giving her the best time of her life, simply put her to sleep and immediately turned her into a specimen for a biological exhibition and sent a distress signal on her behalf, hoping that some idiots would receive it and decide to check their non-planet, which wouldn't have happened if Shaw had connected David's head to a battery and used him only as a GPS navigator to the bodybuilder's planet. And if she needed David to wake her up from hibernation, she should have just set a timer on the pod, and then David wouldn't be necessary at all.
So simple. Even a blind man could see it.
Meanwhile, the bodybuilders, for some reason, turned from a developed civilization that could colonize other planets and create new forms of life, back into the Stone Age, and on the entire planet there is only one city where the citizens dress up like homeless. And the entire city gathered to welcome the spacecraft, apparently thinking that it's a pizza delivery. And since David wants to open his biotech laboratory, and the bodybuilders charge too much for the rent of a building, he decides to use the pathogen on them, because according to his logic, the bodybuilders will not prevent him from building a laboratory if they will be dead.
Can't argue that logic.
And while David was having fun for 10 years, breeding the canonical facehuggers and doing other things,
I was designed like this.
on Earth they finally came up with an idea of deporting the dumbest people away from the planet.
It's happening. It's finally happening.
And since they hired complete imbeciles as a crew for colonizing new planet, they prepared in the best way.
Roman.
They took only one android again.
Right!
And of course, when android Magneto alone has to check the state of the crew, the state of 2,000 passengers, do all the maintenance work on a huge ship, and do the cleaning, after hearing that the ship will soon become the biggest coffin in history,
We have a problem. A neutrino burst was detected in Sector 106. This could trigger a destructive event.
he didn't have time to get to the control room and retract the sails, so the neutrino breaks them, which wouldn't have happened if they had taken the second android, which would have been standing behind the steering wheel. But the dumbest thing is that they don't even have androids for the repairs, so to fix the sails, he has to wake up the crew.
Initiate emergency crew revival!
And apparently, one of the crew members is also responsible for the design of hibernation pods, because for some reason they function as a microwave, and also have jamming doors and armored glass, because nobody managed to rescue the captain. And because they decided to arrange the passenger pods
Like balls on a bulldog, dangling down in all the wrong places.
besides the Green Goblin, they also lose a shit ton of people.
We lost 47 colonists and the one crew member.
And since the Green Goblin got fired,
You're fired.
Barry Allen's father becomes the captain. And the crew immediately show how professional they are, because when they should hurry up fixing the sails, they decide to have a drink.
We should do something for Captain Branson.
I'll take a vodka.
And since the alcohol gave them extra confidence, they went into open space without any safety ropes. But apparently after fixing the batteries, they forgot to fix the antenna, because Dr. Shaw's distress call was received not by the ship, but by one of the imbeciles. And despite not being able to hear the transmission clearly, the idiots managed to find out that it was sent from a habitable planet.
Planet number 4 is square in the habitable zone. Oceans, landmass, high likelihood of a living biosphere. It's beyond your most optimistic projections for Orgai 6.
You had to open your big mouth.
And this information immediately disables the captain's brain, because while going to the planet after 10 years of preparation work, he decides to act according to Lebowski technique.
Oh, fuck it.
And go to the new planet, which he knows nothing about.
We've spent a decade searching for Orgai 6. We vetted it. We ran the simulations, we mapped the terrain. It's what we trained for. And now we're gonna scrap all that.
This is good judgment based on all the data available.
So he's an idiot.
Yeah.
And the reason is that the crew don't want to go to hibernation again.
Sir, I think it's safe to say that none of us are too keen on getting back into one of those pods.
You're being unprofessional. You're supposed to be down here working.
And after reaching the planet, the idiots begin to act according to the procedure written by their colleagues from Prometheus.
I'll take a vodka.
Without investigating the planet using satellites or sending the android Magneto first, they immediately land by themselves. And they also descend through the storm cloud instead of waiting for the sky to become clear. And apparently they have a competition who will die first. That is the only explanation why they're walking around the unknown planet without a suit or a helmet. And when they came down specifically to find the source of the signal, they landed 8 kilometers away from it.
Walter, how far do we have to go?
Signal source is 8 kilometers west.
Walking's good. Fighting's better. Fucking's best.
And since their main rule is
I don't give a fuck about all of that.
a couple of idiots decide to separate, not thinking that the planet might be inhabited by giant monkeys, and who knows what they're gonna do to them. And the scientist even decides to have a smoke and throws away a lit cigarette in the forest.
An imbecile. Yeah. Like the dumbest motherfucker that ever lived.
But during the smoke break, he gets infected by the pathogen, which rents his body as a temporary home. The second imbecile gets infected while filming a TikTok challenge, called smelling random things on the unknown planet.
For a scientist, you seem incredibly stupid.
After that, the idiots find the alien spacecraft, and their reaction is, well, that's cool, I guess. Nobody even took a selfie in front of it, and inside the spacecraft they finally find the signal source. So apparently Shaw was so bored that she decided to film herself singing and send it to Earth, hoping to get into America's Got Talent.
That wasn't good. That was beyond incredible!
And as soon as the imbeciles decided to film some more TikTok challenges, like swimming in the unknown black liquid, their plans got spoiled by one of them being sick, and all of them immediately went back just to watch what's gonna happen. And when they should have kept him for quarantine, in order not to contaminate the ship with unknown viruses and bacteria, especially when he's throwing up, the nurse is welcoming the patient even without a medical mask.
We're gonna keep expedition security protocols in place, keep those doors locked and sealed.
And when she already brought him inside, she leaves and locks her colleague in the same room with the patient, thinking that she's infected as well. And she didn't think that a few seconds ago the guy did the money shot into her face, so she's definitely infected. And while she was complaining that she bought her diploma for $5 and she doesn't know how to be a doctor,
He started bleeding. He's sick. I don't know what the fuck to do.
her friend is trying to cure the infected guy with a hug. And after an improvised C-section, the guy gives birth to a baby, which immediately runs to its mother to get some milk. And the second idiot is back with a shotgun, because she forgot that a minute ago she didn't want to open the door. Well, I guess now the situation is much better, isn't it? And since she slipped on a puddle of her own shit, she misses a shot. And instead of picking up the gun and shooting again, she tries to go to the warehouse and get another one. And instead of luring the baby outside and then going back into the ship, locking the doors and waiting for help, she begins to shoot a fast-moving alien in a room full of explosives.
That's gonna be a closed casket.
The rest of the idiots come back just in time to see the fireworks, and they are upset because they had an entire stock of alcohol left on the ship. But the tears of sadness turn into tears of happiness when one of the guys also gives birth to a baby, which realized that he won't stand a chance against so many people and escaped into the bush. And apparently, he found some very nutritious rabbits there, because in a few hours he comes back a lot bigger and begins to send the idiots into Valhalla. He dissolves the android's hand and doesn't even react to any bullets. And when the idiots didn't have any chances, suddenly David shows up, cosplaying Jesus, scares the alien away and invites the specimens into his lab.
Come with me if you want to live.
And they follow him without even asking Walter to catch the unknown guy and interrogate him. What if he's a space pirate and he's gonna sell them for organs? But David brings them to one of his apartments that he inherited from the locals and tells the idiots about his pets.
The pathogen was designed to infect all non-botanical life forms. Either kill them outright or use them as incubators to spawn a hybrid form. Highly aggressive.
And the captain discloses that he has several thousand experiment subjects on the ship waiting for David.
We're a colony mission. How many colonists?
Shut up!
Over 2,000.
You had to open your big mouth.
And after the chat, everyone just goes doing whatever they want. Android Magneto gives Walter a lesson of sucking his flute, and the scientists just roam by themselves, because they don't know that when an alien is hunting them on their non-planet, it's better to stick together. And they didn't even tell Walter to secure the place, so of course nobody noticed a guest joining the party. And since the alien saw the scientists washing their wounds with some dirty cave water, it realizes that they must be killed. And the woman walked away so far from the others that nobody even heard her screams.
Don't go far, please.
Yes, sir.
Right!
And I can't believe that the captain still has a little bit of brain left, because after seeing Magneto sending a kiss to the alien, he shoots it. And he's lucky that now the alien is defenseless against bullets, unlike he was a few hours ago.
That's just lazy. That's fucking lazy writing.
But immediately after that, the captain becomes stupid again, and after David showed him his collection and told that he was breeding the aliens,
I began a bit of genetic experimentation of my own. Some crossbreeding, hybridizing, what have you.
and brought the captain into a dark cave full of giant eggs and said this.
Waiting, really. For what? Mother, take a look.
The captain, who has just realized that David is a bad guy, still sticks his face into a disgusting moving egg. And of course, the captain didn't tell his colleagues over the radio that David has a glitchy software. If he had called everyone here, then Walter would have checked the eggs without risking, and after that crashed David like an empty beer can, and everyone would have been alive.
End of story.
And while David was saying hello to his newborn son, the idiots continue to walk around the caves, and of course, a facehugger impregnates one of them, and Xenomorph has the other one for dinner. And the first scientist just ran away instead of helping his friend and trying to shoot the enemy, which will hunt him afterwards. Meanwhile, Daniels found David's library and saw one of his cute drawings. But very untimely, Magneto shows up and tries to talk to Daniels in Harvey Weinstein way. But Walter interrupts the romantic moment and instead of killing David, just throws him around. And somehow the new version of the android is weaker than the old one.
It's a Chinese copy.
So David replaces Walter, cuts his hand off, and joins the imbeciles. But since the alien doesn't want to be abandoned by his father, he also boards the ship. And Daniels by herself goes to kick out the passenger because he doesn't have a ticket. And since they decided to use an unsuitable cargo lift for the evacuation, the pilot behaves as if he drank 5 liters of liquor. And because of that, Daniels misses all of her shots, and she defeats him, somehow knowing that Xenomorph is gonna attack a piece of metal instead of her. And I was hoping that after the crew got back, they would stop being dumb.
No.
But I was wrong, and the scientists, knowing that aliens develop inside of people, didn't screen the guy attacked by a facehugger with an X-ray. And the Xenomorph that was born from this guy somehow grew up in a few minutes, and he immediately kills 2 idiots who would have stayed alive if the spacecraft security system was designed by a human instead of a goldfish. Because after detecting someone else inside the ship,
there is an unidentified life form on the ship.
It didn't immediately warn everyone, and didn't lock the alien somewhere between units. And since 2 idiots are still alive, Daniels decided to fix that.
I'll lure it into the truck, lock it in the cabin. When I say when, you blow this fucker into space.
Because she decided that the alien would be slower than her, and she would be able to lure it into a car.
That's a great plan. That's fucking ingenious if I understand it correctly. It's a Swiss fucking watch.
But she's lucky that Xenomorph has found their alcohol supply, and being drunk, got stuck in a net. And what's the point of locking it inside the car when she could just lock it in a hangar, depressurize it, and the alien would be sucked out of the ship? But because Daniels decided to overcomplicate everything, she barely manages to kill it. And after finishing all the alcohol supply on the ship, the idiots decide to go back to sleep.
When you wake up, we'll be at Orgai 6.
But how are they gonna colonize the planet when because of their stupidity they lost all the machinery and landers? And when she's almost asleep, Daniels finally realizes that it's David, but she cannot do anything, so she will wake up already in the new David's lab. So in the ranking of idiots, while Dr. Shaw is still in the first place, the captain of Covenant gets the second place, because the entire crew would have been alive if this imbecile hadn't changed the course and hadn't decided to go check the planet, which he knew nothing about.
That's right. That's right. That's right.
Did IQs just drop sharply while I was away?
Yes.
Fuck yes.
That's right. That's right. That's right.